Imagine this, your teen had a bad day at school and instead of texting a friend or talking to you, they open up an AI app and type, "No one understands me, so what should I do?" For a lot of families, that's not science fiction anymore. That's a true story. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the AI Parenting Institute. I'm your host, Ryan Ali. Today's episode is slightly different. It's a special, guest-free, end-of-the-year episode where we're going to look at your teen's first AI relationship using some of the most powerful moments from 3 different guests, Nir Eyal, Satyajit Salgar, and Anya Kamenetz. And instead of a standard one-to-one conversation, we're stitching together the sharpest insights from across all 3 episodes and layering them into one. In this episode, you'll hear how Nir shares his perspective on parents' fear about AI, how Satyajit sees AI reshaping learning for students, and how Anya helps families balance digital life without panic. The goal is simple. By the end of this episode, you'll have a clear picture of what AI actually means in your kid's daily life, and not as an abstract technology, but as something that they can start to feel as a friend, a tutor, or even a therapist. And you'll even gain some practical ways for maintaining your connection with them while preventing the silent replacement of your role by a screen. When parents picture AI in kids, they often think about either robots or coding. But for most teens, their first AI relationship was way more subtle. And when I say AI relationship, I mean the chatbot that always listens, the homework helper that never said no, and the endless feeds. So Nir Eyal, the author of Indistractable, has this powerful way of reframing our fears. He says tech isn't just hijacking our kids, it's often filling deeper psychological needs that they're not getting offline.
To blame the tech for how our kids behave because it absolves us of responsibility over raising our kids. So the real problem is not necessarily the technology, although it can definitely be improved and we should know how to use it better. The real problem is why are kids saying that's the only person I can talk to who listens? That's the real problem. And so what we see across the industrialized world, mostly in the US, by the way, it doesn't happen in countries like Japan or where I am in Singapore or Korea. You don't see a similar phenomenon because there are family structures in place and community structures in place and practices in place where kids are not doing what's called the needs displacement hypothesis. The needs displacement hypothesis says that when you're not getting what you need offline in the real world, you look for it online in the virtual world. And I think in America in particular, kids are so psychologically deficient. We have forgotten how to raise children to be psychologically resilient. And so they're going online because they don't have other outlets to talk about the kind of problems that they have with a loving listening ear. And so I think that's why they're going there. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? As much as we talk about how technology does this and social media does that, you know, for a lot of people, these tools are an outlet that they would not otherwise have. I wish everybody in America could have access to a wonderful therapist. There's a lot of crappy therapists out there too, but you know, hypothetically, a therapist who knows what they're doing, who has certain standards, and thank goodness that the internet is here to help people go through these difficult circumstances. You know, we know that even as teen suicide in general, particularly among girls, has risen from historic lows that actually used to be higher in the 80s, LGBT suicide has dramatically decreased, right? We don't talk about that. Dramatically. Why? It used to be the highest demographic of children committing suicide or attempting suicide was in the LGBT community. Turns out that's gone down dramatically. Part of that is because someone who's in the middle of Omaha, who's struggling with their sexuality, can go online and talk to an LLM or go into a forum with other people who are struggling with the problem. And so for every good, there are bads, and for every bads, there are many studies of good.
What Nir is really saying here is that AI is not just a tool, it's a mirror. Chatbots and endless feeds. The surface question is this app addictive? But the deeper question is, what is my child escaping from? And when that escape is powered by AI, it's always available, always responsive, and then it starts to feel like a relationship. And then your teen says, this is the only person that always understands me. AI isn't some gadget that your teens will have to get used to. No. It's already baked into the devices that they love. Their phones, iPads, tablets, laptops. And the journalist Anya Kamenetz, who wrote The Art of Screen Time, has this simple line that I truly love. Enjoy screens, not too much, but mostly with friends. And that mostly with friends part is crucial when we talk about your teen's first AI relationship.
And they know that their kids are using AI and they want to be able to teach them the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that also brings me to our next question of like adding a screen time of some sort to like the kids who watch too much, you know?
Yeah.
And so your art of screen time philosophy was about finding a healthy balance. Now, with generative AI, that's infinitely engaging. So how can families use that to spend more time together rather than just fighting for their kids' attention?
I think that the message in the art of screen time is, enjoy screens not too much and mostly together. And I really do advocate for a healthy balance of on and off screen times. I think that every family should have, screen-free meals, time outside, screens out of the bedroom at night, and just to have that little like relief time. And I think another thing that's a positive trend, frankly, is 30 states now have some sort of statewide restriction on phone use during school. And so that's really just giving people a chance to be away from the screens and to hopefully focus on face-to-face and focus on, distraction-free learning. So I think it's a positive trend, but it doesn't necessarily fill the need for parents to be the coaches and the mentors to help students how to understand how to engage young people, how to engage positively with technology. In order to do that, you do need to bring technology and AI into some of your family time. Notice I say some of it, right? And, I think it's going to look very different for different families. But the positive way of doing it is really to think about how you use AI, right? Most people have it in some part of their workflow, some of their day-to-day, and that could be like researching a vacation options or looking for recipes based on what you have in the fridge, or even getting into a dialogue where you don't want your kids to go directly to AI with a personal problem because you don't want them to have that unmediated quasi-friendship relationship with the AI. But let's say that you're talking with your kid about, for example, last night, my 13-year-old's turning 14, wants to throw a birthday party. And he said to me, I have these different friend groups and I'm not sure if they're going to get along at the party. And so we had a conversation about it. We kicked around some ideas, but we could have gone to AI and said, what are your thoughts about this? Like, should we come up with an activity we can all do together? Or are there ways to break the ice or to structure the party so that these different friend groups can mix? So that way AI is kind of like a brainstorming partner.
What Anya is really trying to say here is that the danger is not just how much time your teen spends with AI, but it's whether they're doing it alone or with you in the loop. And an AI that your teen uses with you, maybe co-writing a story, planning a project, or exploring a topic, is very different from an AI that they use alone and they go to when they're sad, angry, or ashamed. So far, we've talked about the emotional side of the relationship, but there's also a learning side. Satyajit Salgar, who leads AI and learning initiatives at Google, is also a dad, and he talks about how AI can become a playful collaborator with his own kids.
Let's start with me, right? Which is, I find I am able to learn something new dramatically faster. I am able to generate better quality ideas because I suddenly have these intelligences at my disposal, right? It's literally like having, I fire up a few different LLMs, and it's like having a bunch of really smart friends that will help me with something. And then when I'm trying to create something, it's having a bunch of really smart analysts and tools at my disposal that can like accelerate me dramatically. I think with kids with 10x learning, and so the learning thing actually applies even to me today. I think with kids, it's two things, right? You're trying to create excitement and curiosity for them to learn, and then you want to give them the tools at the right granularity. So I love telling the story about my daughter when she was in first grade, where I was trying to get her to do math, and she was. It's very hard, by the way. Like, it's very hard as a parent to just even create practice problems for your kid. Like, you go like, okay, do I have to like write them down or whatever? Guess what? ChatGPT, like, just say like create 10 practice problems, works pretty well. And you print out a paper and hand it to your kid. But then I was like, okay, how do we make it fun? And I said, can you create a bunch of problems that are word problems, appropriate for a first grader, but make them all about princesses, unicorns, and I think they like threw in scientists and sports people.
Yeah, I read that in your Substack.
Yeah, and guess what? Like, she was a little more engaged, and she enjoyed doing them. And a large part of learning is being taught in a format that works for you, right? And I think finding ways to do that is really important. The second thing, and I don't think we're there as like the tools and products haven't been built yet for this to work perfectly, but LLMs are just infinitely patient and can adapt to you. So there's a feature that that was announced and sort of starting to roll out across Gemini called guided learning, where the mode is very much, hey, I'm trying to learn a topic. I'm not going to give you the answer, but I'm going to help you learn, right? And you sort of tune that LLM to like for this particular use case.
Like your perfect pace teacher.
Correct, right? And then over time, and I don't think we're there yet. Like I think this will adapt to you. It will see what you do. It'll see, sort of what you struggle with, and will have the context to adapt to you. Right. So one of my favorite examples is Notebook LM again, which I don't think I appreciated how many people like to learn a topic as a podcast where two people are talking to each other. I wouldn't have predicted like that's what sort of helped so many people. But clearly, like the reason we're so popular is we got used to listening to podcasts, and now people are like, oh yeah, I want to learn this topic, make it a conversation between these two people and help me ramp up a little bit faster. Mm-hmm. Now, I think that applies to everyone prefers to sort of consume content in a particular format, mm-hmm. right? So you can imagine sort of entire lessons being, taught to kids as cartoons, and like being customized as like, hey, you like this character, let's have this character in the story. Or let's put you in this story and you as a protagonist. That lets you do that. So there's this thing called a storybook that just released from Gemini, which basically you give it a prompt, it generates a short story with pictures and stuff for your kid. Imagine that being applied to lessons, right? So I think you have all these tools now that will engage kids deeply as they're trying to learn something. I think there's a lot of work to be done to make these sort of appropriate to the curriculum, and there are a bunch of companies trying that, but the tools now exist to do that.
And it's amazing that they're at your fingertips. Sorry.
They are. No, that's right. They are. These tools are at your fingertips now, and like you have this opportunity to just like, if you're a slightly older kid, right? So if you're, let's say 12, 13, you can go down a rabbit hole. Like my son spends a bunch of time, my son's 11, he spends a bunch of time just learning tricks on like, how do I make progress in Roblox using Gemini, right? But again, it's a way for him to be, in a lot of the ways, like, sort of hitting search accelerated a lot of people. Like now this is just much faster, he goes deeper. And I think that, again, like if you're curious, we now have this insanely powerful tool to like help you go down something faster. So he's trying to edit a video like literally this afternoon, and he was like, I need help with this video editing tool, and he's actually, never mind, I figured it out. I asked my friend, then I got the rest from the LLM, and then like, so I think this notion of anything we can do to unblock the things that like stop them from continuing to be curious, I think is really good. Mm-hmm. And I think now we have this insanely powerful tool of like just...
Notice what Satyajit is doing here. He's introducing AI as a creative partner, not a babysitter. In his home, AI is the thing that makes math more fun, stories more personalized, and curiosity easier to follow, not the thing that replaces human effort or connection. And that's a different kind of relationship than the AI that writes my essay so that I don't have to. Okay, now I want to make this real. If you're watching this with your teen, this is a good moment to lean in together. I'm gonna run a quick live demo to show you two very different ways a teen might build a relationship with AI. So the first prompt would be a purely emotional, very vulnerable one that many teens could relate to, and the second one would be like a supported one where a parent is in the picture. Okay, alright, so I'm sharing my screen now and I'm gonna input the first prompt. I feel really lonely at school. My friends don't invite me anymore, so what should I do? Please tell me something that makes me feel better. So ChatGPT said, I'm really sorry that you're feeling this way. Feeling left out hurts a lot, and it makes sense that you feel lonely when friends stop inviting you. Nothing about that means you're unlikable or broken. It means you're human and you're going through something hard. But here's something I want you to hear and really let that sink in. Being left out is not a measure of your worth. Sometimes friends group shift, people get distracted, or misunderstandings happen. Here's something I want you to hear and really let sink in. Being left out is not a measure of your worth. Sometimes friend group shifts, people get distracted, or misunderstandings happen, and it can leave kind, interesting people on the outside through no fault of their own. If it helps you a little, try this right now. Take one slow breath in through your nose and let it out through your mouth. Remind yourself, the feeling is real, but it won't last forever. A few gentle ideas. Only take what feels doable. You're not invisible, even if it feels that way right now. There are people who would enjoy your company. Sometimes they just haven't found you yet. One safe connection counts. You don't need a big group. One person to talk to at your school or outside of it can make a big difference. Do something kind for yourself today. Listen to music you love, write how you're feeling, draw, game, walk, anything that reminds you you still matter. And just to let you know, a lot of people who feel lonely at school later look back and realize that this was just a chapter, not the whole story. New friendships can come from unexpected places, and you don't have to solve everything right now. And I'm really glad you spoke up instead of keeping it all inside. You deserve to feel included and cared about. So on the surface, ChatGPT's response looks like empathetic and sweet, right? But ChatGPT doesn't really know what's going on in your life, like with your family or your friends. It just knows what you give in the prompt. So the answer it gives can kind of be incomplete. But it tries to give a response like a wise friend or something like that. But once again, it's still incomplete, so it doesn't give you the full picture. Now I'm going to input the second prompt. I feel lonely at school, and I want to talk to my parents about it, but I'm scared. So give me 5 questions I could ask them so that we could solve this together. Alright, so ChatGPT said, that's a really brave step to even want to think to talk about your parent. Being scared makes sense, and asking questions instead of making a big statement is a smart, gentle way to start. So here are 5 questions that you could ask that invite teamwork instead of pressure. Number 1, can I talk to you about something that's been bothering me lately at school? I don't need like a fixing right way. I just need you to help me think through it. This is just a safe and sets the tone of what's really going on. Number 2, when you were my age, did you ever feel left out or lonely? And if so, what helped you? This helps you feel like less alone and opens empathy. I feel lonely at school sometimes. Can we think about what might help me to feel more connected? This question feels like you're asking for support, not blame. Number 4, if you were in my situation, what would you try first? It lets them share their idea without telling you what to do. And number 5, can we check in about this later again? It really helps knowing I don't have to figure this out alone. And this turns this into an ongoing team effort. So I feel like ChatGPT in this prompt gives us a more connected version that we can talk to our parents about. It brings parents into the picture and really gives a more detailed and more understanding answer and more understanding solution to what the teen might be feeling, right? To actually solve the problem, because the parent might have a better picture of what's really going on in their teen's life. See the difference? In the first version, AI tries to be a replacement friend or even a therapist, but in the second, AI becomes a bridge. It helps you and your teen have a better conversation and connect with each other. And that's the kind of AI relationship that really strengthens family bonds instead of quietly replacing them. If you resonated with our experiment with ChatGPT today, here are 2 tiny experiments you can try during the holidays. First, the 10-minute AI check-in from New Year's episode, and make sure to watch the full episode. Sit with your teen and ask AI one emotional question and one practical question together. Then talk about which answer did you like better and which one felt off, and where would you like a parent to answer instead. Number 2, define your family's AI relationship rules. From Anya's episode, as a family, write down one situation where it's okay to talk to AI first, like brainstorming ideas, and then write another situation where you agree AI should never be the first place to go to, like a serious mental health problem or an unsafe situation. If this episode helped you make sense of your teen's relationship with AI, subscribe and leave a comment and share this with someone who needs to hear. And that's how this show reaches more families. Your teen will build a relationship with AI whether you're ready or not. But the real question is, would that relationship push them away from you or bring you two closer together? Thanks for listening to the episode and joining us on the AI Parenting Institute. Once again, I'm Rayan, and I hope to see you in the next episode next year.